Oh, he stopped at Bucky's, got
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Animal Advocates Radio Voices Carry for Animals, number 527 shows and counting this evening. And I want to welcome all of you aboard. I hope you enjoy the show. I just got to make a couple announcements here. But if everybody's, so a big shout out to everyone that's listening out on the Podbean podcast web. I want to welcome you all aboard, and I hope you enjoy the show. And if you would like to join us here in the Podbean podcast app, there's just a few steps to take, and you can join us, and it's awesome in here. Just go to either Google Play Store or the Apple Store, and then what you want to do is search for Podbean podcast app and player, and then once you got that free installed, then you want to search Voices Carry for Animals podcast, and then follow. Make sure you follow, and you will get alerted when the show starts at 7 o'clock p.m. Eastern time on your phone, your laptop, your tablet, or your iPad. So it's awesome over here. I just want to make a couple announcements. Had gotten some sad news a couple months ago, and I have to tell everyone because I have different audiences out there that's coming in and appreciate all your ongoing support. But on next Thursday, May 14th, will be my last live stream podcast at 7 o'clock Eastern. Because Podbean is doing away, removing the live stream with the live studio chat with the call-ins. So that was sad news. I've been on Podbean for a little over a year and a couple months, but I didn't let it get me down. My podcast will be on the website. I'm going to keep it there for a while before I do shut it down. But the good news is I did find another a great podcast. It's called Riverside, and I got it all set up now. And even on the website, just a couple of things you have to do to keep following me on there. And just go to Voices Carry for Animals podcast.riverside.com, and you can subscribe free. And all my former on-demand episodes has already been transferred over there. I'm ready to go on live on June the 4th. I'm taking several weeks off to get it together, all the way, and looking forward to it. And it does have the live stream with the live studio chat room with the call-in. So that's the great news. And checked it out, and it is awesome so far. So I've been real busy here trying to get that together. But please, spread the word about this, subscribers, and then we'll get started on June the 4th on that new podcast. So I hope all of you, all your ongoing support, and keep, following me and everything. This show, on the Voices Carry for Animals.com, you can subscribe free. That's my main website. And I want to say hello to everyone that's in the live studio chat room on live stream on Podbean podcast. Mama Cat and Lisa and Barbara and Darla. Hey, and everybody's coming in, and this is wonderful. So if you want to join us here on the chat room, because after this evening there'll be one more show, And my name is Debbie Dahmer, aka Mama Bear, and Mama Bear does care because she's on the air. And I want to welcome all of you new listeners that's tuning in. We are the voices for the animals, and we must be heard. And our actions really do matter. We want to see the positive changes and futures in their lives because it matters so much to them. We're their only hope to carry on out there. So everyone, please do your part out there, and every effort counts out there to help them. So I just want to go over a couple things here before I do get started here. Anyway, I want to on Saturday, May 9th, for the United States Postal Service, they're having a food drive. And so if everybody can donate food, perishable items, leave it in front of your mailbox. If you're in condos, leave it in the mail rooms. Let's see, a record-breaking year. You know, there's a lot of people out there that's in need of food, and get a big shout out to all the mail carriers out there that's going to be working extra hard on Saturday, picking up the perishable, the items and everything, and going that extra mile to do it, and it'll be delivered to the local pantries, throughout the United States. Let's give them, when you see them, say thank you very much for what you're doing, and all the families that's going to be helping out. That's that's struggling out there because this inflation is very high, and it's not good. So thank you, United States Postal Service, for putting this on every year, and let's work together and help these people out and put a smile on their face, let them know that we really do care out there. And also, wanted to this. I'm doing a 360 here, but June 15th is World Elder Abuse Awareness Day. And if everyone could spread the word, this is the 20th anniversary of this. There's over uh, 5 million elderly a year that's getting abused, neglected, or exploited. And that's not including the ones that's not getting reported. This is disgusting, everyone, and it's sad. And so I'm picking somebody up on here. Hold on one second. So if you could, we're trying to get all the governors in every state to make the proclamation day for World Elder Abuse Awareness Day. So contact them, please, and ask or by computer or email to make this a proclamation day for World Elder Abuse Awareness Day 2026. Let's help the elderly out because, excuse me, the elderly need our help, okay? And it's a sad report. So if you all can spread the word, I have post on my timeline, and that the 20th year anniversary. Please call President Trump and ask him to make June 15th the World Elder Abuse Awareness Day and put the White House in purple. I've already sent some emails and made calls. The White House number is area code 202 202-456-1111. And you can call Tuesday through Thursday, 10 a.m. 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern Time. And you can leave a comment, or you can even contact the White House by email and ask them for that, because really we want to see all 50 states get involved. Like I said, our ages don't stop here, and 5 million a year. And this is reported by the National Center on Elder Abuse, and that's a sad part. What this astronomical amount is. But please help out and do something. Let the elderly know that we really do care about them. Okay, so anyway, hello Barb. She's entered to the chat room, and also I know. I hope she gets on air. And aloha's there. My mother Pat, aka Moose, is in here, and I love all your support. But I'm going to bring the guest on, and when the show starts in, I want to bring up some other events because it's a busy weekend. We got Mother's Day coming, and but we'll talk about that later and everything. So I want to bring the guest on. It's his first time on air on the Podbean podcast app and on Voices Carey for Animals podcast. Carey, Theil, he's the executive director. This is such an honor to have him on from the GREY2K USA Worldwide. Carey, can you hear me? You're live and on the air. Go right ahead. This is such an honor.
I can. No, the honor is mine. It's truly. I'm very grateful to be on and happy to have a good conversation with you and support the show.
This is wonderful. I appreciate it so much, And everyone that's in the chat room, you can press the likes. You can share this show right from here. The chat room, it is awesome. And the more voices out there and action takers, the better. But anyway, Carey, welcome aboard, and we'll get started here. What we're going to be speaking about is so important. Everyone, I remember when the Greyhound racing ended here in Florida, and it was such a victory. And Carey, I want to thank you and the staff and everything that you do out there. It's so positive and uplifting for these greyhounds because all lives matter, including all the animals. And you've made better lives and futures for them too. Not giving up because that's what matters. So, but our conversation tonight's going to be the fight to end greyhound racing, both in the U.S. and abroad. But go ahead, Carey, if you want to, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got started, and we'll get on that. This
Yeah,
is great.
well, thank you for that. Certainly, I'm very proud of the work that we've done with my co-founder Christine Dorchek and all of our employees and all of the volunteers. But I'll tell you, it's the fight to end greyhound racing and help these gentle dogs really has been a team effort for decades. It's a fascinating story about how ordinary people came together, just ordinary dog lovers came together to fight a very powerful multi-billion-dollar gambling industry and win. And I think with so much darkness and sadness in the world right now, it's been it's been a lot of fun to be one of the maybe sole rays of hope during these difficult times. But it is happy to talk to you in detail about it. But it's an incredible story about how David really can beat Goliath, and I mean it takes a lot of we had to lose a lot and overcome a lot of challenges to win those victories, and it took many years, and like I said, it took many people, people who didn't agree on anything else, people who were on the left, on the right, who were old, who were young, who just didn't agree on any other issue, but came together just to try and help these sweet gentle dogs. And it's been the honor of my life working on this issue and being able to see real change. So
And great work. I mean, and like you said, they're innocent and defenseless, helpless voices, and having to get out there and race and everything. They're forced. They don't have no choice in the matter. And going behind the scenes, the treatment they was getting down, especially down here in Florida, and it was terrible. They don't deserve that. They deserve to be in TLC homes with great care and attention and love. And with this greyhound racing, I was so glad to see that go because it is not meant for them. They're forced to do something that they are not, they have no say so in the matter. So what you're doing is such a throughout the United States and you're international. This is amazing what you're doing, and keep it up because it's so uplifting. You're bringing the negative into the positive, and you're being their voices, and
thank
doing
you.
something about it. You said, no, this is not for them. Enough is enough, So this is great. So I mean, it's so the victories that come through. And I've known
Yes.
you've seen it. And you're not spinning your wheels, or none of you. But and it's
Well, sometimes
wonderful.
sometimes it feels like that, but no, you're right. I mean, to talk about I won't belabor the point, but to talk about just to give your listeners a sense of what this industry is like from an animal welfare perspective. These dogs don't deserve this. I mean, each of these commercial racetracks requires a huge population of dogs, as many as 1,000 dogs to operate, and they're used as numbers to gamble on. And the dogs, they don't go home at night with their trainer. They're kept in warehouse style kennel compounds near the track, and they live in little cages essentially for their entire lives. Other than a few times a day, they're let out into a little sand pit and allowed to relieve themselves, and then on you know a few times a month, really, they go to the racetrack to race. When they go to the track, they are at risk of serious injuries. A lot of greyhounds suffer serious injuries. Just to give you an example, at the two West Virginia tracks, and I'll talk about West Virginia in a moment, but at the two West Virginia tracks since 2017, there have been more than 4,000 reported greyhound injuries, and those are dogs suffering broken legs, broken necks, dogs dying on the track. It's an industry that churns through dogs to make a profit for the gambling industry. And on top of that, all the female greyhounds are given an anabolic steroid called methyl testosterone as a way to prevent a loss of race days. The dogs are fed what's called 4D meat from slaughterhouse animals down to animals that have been deemed unfit for human consumption. So at every step in this process, and I want to be clear, there are some greyhound trainers who, when a dog is injured, they're upset and they remember dogs from 20 years ago. And I mean, there's good people and bad people in this industry, like every industry. But across the board, this industry is trying to secure the highest financial return from every single dog while incurring the least amount of cost. And so they use these standard practices, like the way they're housed, what they're fed, the use of anabolic steroids in female greyhounds, as a way to reduce costs. And so that's it really is an industry that puts profit above everything else. So that's why, and if you want, we can talk about you know how much the industry has declined, and the grassroots effort that brought that to be. But that's what the industry looks like from the dog's perspective, and why we're against it, and why every major animal protection group is against greyhound racing.
Yeah, and you can't blame them because it's so wrong and so inhumane and cruel. It's so sad what they've had to go through with just to, and it goes down to the roots of the problem is money and greed. Don't care about the animals and how they feel. It's just win those races, and it's not right. From every angle. And I'm so glad, and I checked out your websites and Facebook pages, and you got a lot of great information out there, to recruit more people and help out, and throughout all over the world, because
Yeah.
all these animals, they deserve better lives and futures, and not be uncomfortable and sad, and by them not even having a choice in the matter. And that goes with horse racing too. There's another one, and just getting forced to go out there, and people win money and are happy about that, but they don't care what's happening behind the scenes. How they're getting treated in their lives. It's no life for them at all, and it's sad. So when it comes to gambling, out there with all this going on, they have to think about the animals and how they feel. That not if they're getting forced, and is it worth it? No, definitely not. And that's what when you said that most of them are against it. Hey, you have to be against it. I mean, why would you be for it? Because that's what with this going on, profit before animals is a no-no. They feel everything we do. right? I mean, they sleep, they eat, they walk, everything. And just and we have to look at the animals and say, hey, we could all do better for them. And these greyhounds are so innocent, they're adorable too. Friendly, lovable. I've known some greyhounds, and they're racing. I'm totally against it. I always have been, and that's what everybody's got to feel. Step in their paws and see how if
Mm.
you would like it. Go to greyhound racing. I don't think you would, right? Right, Carey.
Oh, no, no, no question. But I think that to me, look, I care about all animal issues, and like you, and there's so many issues where quite frankly, it feels hopeless. I mean, there's so much suffering happening, and I think what's what makes the Greyhound issue so special for me, not only that these are just incredibly special dogs that deserve to have a voice and deserve all the work that's happening to fight for them. But even beyond that, this is, you mentioned Florida earlier. This was once a massively powerful industry. At its peak, there were more than 70 dog tracks in America in 19 states. $3.5 billion bet on this industry every single year. It was politically powerful. It was culturally important. It was economically significant. And thanks to the work of a lot of grassroots activists, and decades of work by my organization and others, we're now at the point where greyhound racing is illegal in 44 states. States are even outlawing gambling on greyhound racing.
Good,
We've seen a bunch of
good.
states do that, and it only exists now in West Virginia. And the key moment was the campaign that you talked about in 2018, where voters went to the ballot in Florida, hardly a lefty progressive state, um, and overwhelmingly voted to abolished greyhound racing and shut down 12 operational dog tracks, and that was a huge moment. I would say that was one of the most significant victories that the animal welfare community has won on any issue, and it was incredibly bipartisan. You had the most liberal members of the state legislature, like Carlos Guillermo Smith, who's a close friend of mine, the League of Women Voters, joining with Laura Trump, Rick Scott, Mike Huckabee, people on the right. And I mean, that's a group that just doesn't agree on anything. And it happened because of the hard work of you and a lot of other volunteers. And, this has always been a fight between, our people and the money and muscle of this industry. But I think what the fight for greyhounds has proven is, if you keep fighting and keep working for years and years and years, and willing to take some losses, eventually you really can bring about transformational change. And that's, for me, that was very empowering. I mean, there were 10,000 greyhounds racing at Florida dog tracks. You had
Mm.
greyhounds having cocaine positives. Again, all of those dogs were living in little cages. All the female greyhounds were getting anabolic steroids. So to sweep that away, in one night, thanks to the compassionate decision of the voters, is an incredibly powerful moment, and something that our movement should look at and say, it really is possible to bring transformational change for animals.
Yes, it is. I mean, we got to at least try, and we work together, team. Like Mama Cat would say, strength in numbers, and that strong leaders and strong supporters leads to strong victories. And look how many. I look at that as like, wow, that's not giving up. Being relentless, optimistic, and proactive is the key. Working together and fighting for them because we're their only hope. They can't fight for themselves. They can't call the lawmakers or write emails or anything like that or tell us how they really feel. But we know how they feel because we're looking at behind the scenes and say, nope, this is not right. Let's get with the times. We do not need this at all, right? I mean, why do we need it? Why do we need greyhound racing? It's not a necessity. It's putting these all these dogs in harm's way, every one of them, and that's the
Well,
sad
it's
part.
it's funny because the industry says, oh, this is about jobs, this is about revenue, this is about economic issues. We worked with Ball State University on a study, an independent study, of the economic impact of greyhound racing in West Virginia. It was released in February, and it found that greyhound racing in West Virginia has no net economic benefit at all. And so, what you really have is this industry where a huge number of dogs are being injured, dogs are dying on the track, literally for nothing, so that a few gambling companies can, try and squeeze out, a few more dollars out of this cruel industry. It's outrageous. But change isn't easy. Change isn't self-executing, and so I'm grateful, for everyone who has helped us with this fight, who's reached out to their lawmaker, who's leafleted or done other things. And and I think that the grassroots advocacy that we see on these animal issues, not just greyhound racing, is so important. And it's only by creating a movement that's bigger than ourselves that we can really achieve these victories.
Oh yeah, takes teamwork all the way and not give it up. Because if we give up, we automatically lose right there and then. So the more of us that come together, and you said West Virginia is what's left. If you're all these listeners, if you're listening from West Virginia, please do your part and write those emails and phone calls or letters, help make a difference, a positive difference, not a negative one, but a positive. Be their voices. We're their only hope to carry on. Let's see another victory come in, and it can happen, right, Carey? I mean, no doubt in my mind.
Look,
And
the
working
end of
hard on it.
yeah,
Yep.
the end of greyhound racing in the United States is inevitable. The question is how long is it going to take, and how many dogs are going to suffer and die in the meantime. I would just say two other things. Number one, there is also a federal bill. I see some of the people in the chat are talking about this. There's a federal bill to outlaw greyhound racing, which actually, as part of a bigger piece of legislation called the Farm Bill, just passed the House of Representatives just a few days ago and is now headed to the Senate. And so I would encourage all your listeners to contact their U.S. senator and ask them to support the Greyhound Protection Act. And we'll be doing alerts and messages on that as well. And then the second thing I wanted to say is, the work that you did in Florida and others have done across the country on this issue is spreading across the world. There is now grassroots movements to help these dogs and end greyhound racing all over the world in the places where greyhound racing exists. And we've seen just in the past couple of months new laws to ban greyhound racing that have passed in Wales, in Scotland, in New Zealand, and a similar bill is pending in Tasmania. So this really is uh, a compassionate movement of people across the world, and I think one of the signature animal welfare debates of our time. So I think those of us who worked on this issue in the United States. Can be proud of the fact that there's now people following in those footsteps and fighting for these dogs all over the world.
That is so inspiring and uplifting. I mean, we're already heading worldwide. Isn't that great? I mean, that is positivity right there, bringing the negative into the positive because it's not needed anywhere. Let these innocent greyhounds live in peace and comfort and love and enjoy their lives, not sitting there, in harm's way. Some will die and get injured. That's not entertainment. That's animal cruelty front lines. Animal cruelty in the first degree. That's the way I look at it. I know all of you do too. Animal cruelty and abuse is crimes, and they should be treated like crimes. not just swept under the carpet, looked the other way, ignored. No, they're crimes, abuse and neglect. That's what they're getting, how they're getting treated, and it's wrong. So we all have to keep it up. And that federal bill, please, call your senators. It's so very important. And that number, I have it memorized, Carey. I've called it so many times, because I want to get my voice out there, not just for this podcast, but on other ends. But it's area code 202-224-3121. And in business hours, give your zip code, ask to speak to your senator, and ask them to support, co-sponsor the Greyhound Protection Act. And this is a nationwide number, so you can find out. And then, or if you're more comfortable writing emails, also, you can find my senator on the internet, and it'll lead you right to him. Just give your zip code, and then you can write an email right from there. And also, you can write letters. But please, we need all your voices out there and your actions. And taking action is the key. Right, Carey? We cannot stop right there. And let's see it pass all the way. Support that Greyhound Protection Act. I don't know the bill number right offhand. I can find out because I'm hooked up with Congress.gov, where I start an account and I you can get alerts, okay? And they'll come in your email if they get more co-sponsors or if there's an amendment in the bill. It is a awesome website. You're staying on top of these current nationwide bills. Just like the SAFE Act, HR 1661. It already has 228 co-sponsors. That's amazing. But they only have like 7 co-sponsors on the Senate side, so that needs help too. So please, whatever you can do out there and spread the word. Ask your family, your sons, your daughters, neighbors, co-workers. Spread the word. Give them the number. They can always, hey, be a part of it. Because the more of us come together, the stronger we become. It takes that teamwork, right, Carey? We have to do it.
I know that everyone today hates politics. Truthfully, I mean, I spend I spent 25 years around the political process, and a lot of the people in the process hate politics. I can tell you, but the reality is, uh, if we are not engaging at the local level, at the state level, at the federal level, and giving the animals a voice in that process, then there's a vacuum, and that vacuum gets filled by people who want to harm animals, by greyhound
Yes.
breeders, and by other animal exploiters. And so, I think for those of us who care deeply about these animal issues and want to see change, that is by definition a political struggle, whether we like it or not. And it's my opinion that we have an obligation to engage in that process, even if it's a broken process, even if we're cynical about the process. And it can still work. I think the Greyhound issue showed, not to say it always does work, but the Greyhound issue has shown that our political process can still work in a good way. But yeah, you're right. I mean, it's really been an honor, to fight this fight with you and so many others. And I'll tell you one other thing, Debbie. I you know I think that the biggest benefit for me personally in this has been, so there was a dog track in Macau, the only legal dog track in China, and after years, we were able to convince the government to close it down. It was a very difficult campaign, and when it shut down, our president, Christine Dorchek, airlifted over 500 dogs working with other groups around the world, which was really a beautiful thing. And one of the greyhounds at this death track, this was a track, uh, the dogs came from Australia, and every dog at the track died. There was no adoption program. 30 dogs a month were killed, and
Mm.
one of the dogs came home and lived with us. He was an incredibly sweet greyhound named Brooklyn. Um, just really, really sweet boy. Ironically, he had been the poster child of the campaign. There was a photograph that was taken of him very early on in the process, that just went around the world and became iconic. And he sat in a cement cell waiting for that campaign to succeed for 10 years. And he came home to us at the very end. He spent about 2.5 years with us. He had his issues. He got bone cancer. He had a leg amputated. He had a spinal
Mm.
stroke, but he was a sweet, happy, gentle dog all the way till the end. And people would meet him, and he would have this incredible effect on people. We had lots of dogs and lots of cats, and I love them all. They're all incredibly dear to me. But there was something really, really special about this dog, and so it was two things about that. First, it was almost like all the hard work that I had done and Christine had done. It was a little bit of a personal reward from the universe to us, but also to take care of him, I had to be completely selfless. And I realized in that process that I was maybe too selfish as a person, and I had to be better. And for those 2 years, I could never leave him. I had to be his legs. I had to be completely selfless. And that taking care of him, even when he was a special needs dog, turned out to be such a blessing and such a gift. And so, his story also has gone around the world. We wrote a book about him in the campaign, and there's a TED Talk too. People can go see if they want. But he was a really special dog, and every one of these animals, every single animal we fight for, is a unique, special being with their own needs and wants. And that's why we do this work. So I mention him because I would be remiss to do your show and not mention him.
Hey, don't mind at all. I'm so glad you did. It's just they're special and they deserve the recognition and tell their stories. Let the listeners hear it. There's no reason why we should hide it or look the other way because they all animals. I love animals too. Okay, and they should be treated with dignity and respect. All of them, from every angle, every show that I've done, and there's a lot of them out there are not getting that. And how hard is it? They're so innocent and defenseless and voiceless and helpless, and we're their only hope to carry on, to have better lives and let them live in freedom, away from fear and anxiety. And that's our plan, or what we're doing here, to make sure. Because can you imagine if there was no animal advocates out there, or animal rights activists, or animal lovers? It would be a total disaster, and we don't want that. And I know there's, astronomical amount of animal lovers out there that fight for them. Look at all, if you could tell that by, look at all the organizations for them. All the rescues that's helping them. A lot of volunteers, and a big shout out to all of them to volunteer in their time and effort. It's so meaningful to help them out, and that matters too. And a big shout out to all of them that's out there. That's even on social media, the networkers and the cross posters that's helping saving animals' lives from every angle. Look at that. I see it all over social media and news feeds on Facebook and X and LinkedIn. So we can, with even getting these greyhounds adopted, they're awesome. I mean, I've known several in my life, and they're so just like the rest of the animals. They deserve to be in TLC homes and not on a racetrack where people gambling to see who wins. Is that really matter? No, it just goes down to money again. So, and not caring how they feel about it or how they're treated and what they're going through. And with yours, I mean, if you want to go ahead and give your website out or wherever you're at to the listeners out there, And however can everybody follow them, like their page to see how you can help out. And this show can be, you can listen in worldwide. You can always go back and listen to it on the on-demand episodes. Listen and share 24/7, and get do some homework. Know what's going on behind the scenes, and you're not going to like it at all. I know I don't. And when it hit Florida the victory, hey, doing the victory dance, okay? We don't see no more big billboards that say Greyhound Racing. That's awesome right there. It's gone. Period. It's only history. So we have to. But go ahead, Carrie, and give me your websites or any information where you can be found. Go right ahead.
Yeah, people can get more information at GREY2KUSA.org. If they have questions, they can email me at Carey@GREY2KUSA.org. We're on Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, all the social media channels. And yeah, it's just you open the show by being very kind and and thanking me for everything that we've done in our victories, and I'm very proud of that. I mean, I've worked very hard over decades, and we've made some transformational change, and I'm proud of that. But it's honestly, it's nothing compared to all the work that's happening in every single community for animals. I mean, there's so many people who, whether it's managing a TNR colony or cat colony, or working at your local animal shelter, or there's so much happening, and work that's thankless and doesn't get acknowledged, doesn't get appreciated, and so those are my heroes. And I'll tell you that the work that I do and the political wins that the animal movement does get is because of them. It's because we have such a vast grassroots network. That's power. It really is power, and it's a form of power that's real and organic, and genuine, and not like the political power that we see in the world today, which is not those things so much of the time. So anyway, that's a long way of saying that I would ask all of your listeners to continue to help us and support us as we fight. After decades, I feel like we're on the two-yard line in terms of ending greyhound racing in the United States, and I think we really have a chance of getting that federal bill across. But it's gonna be difficult. It's gonna be a hard fight, and yeah. So I appreciate everything people can do to help, and I'm grateful to be on the show tonight.
Yeah, this is great. And Carrie, I looked at it's HR 5017. It's called the Greyhound Protection Act of 2025. Okay, everyone. And you go to the congress.gov and get set up an account. It's very simple. And then it's going to ask you to get alerts. And I just pressed get alerts. And then it's going to um, anytime there's any movement in it, any new co-sponsors, or any amendments in the bill, it will alert you in your primary email. There's currently 30 co-sponsors right now, and on the related bills, there is no Senate sponsor there yet. It's showing zero. So we need some senators to go and get a senator sponsor, and then go for the Senate co-sponsors. And that way, once everything gets through, they can vote on it, have a House vote and a Senate vote. And then if it passes both, then it just goes to President Trump to sign. So it's not that very difficult of of your time and effort to make them calls to your state representatives. 202-224-3121. Give your zip code during business hours. Ask to speak to your House representative or senators after hours and weekends. You can leave a voicemail, okay, or you can even email, find my state representative or state my senator, give your zip code, and you can reach them right from the internet. And Carrie, doesn't get much easier then just help make changes in the comfort of your home, your phone, your computer, laptop, or copier. It's all right there, and you don't even have to leave, right? I mean, it's so easy. I'm used to it, and I continue, and it's not that much. It's not that difficult at all. Use your voices, please, and your actions, and help. Let's get this federal bill passed. HR 5017, Greyhound Protection Act of 2025. And we need all of you. Let's see some more victories come through. And that way we could do the victor dance. I know you've done many victor dances, Carey. Right? Just jump into I do the mama bear dance, okay? Happy dance. And Mama Cat's got a picture of two bears dancing, so that's what she's talking about in the chat room. But you ready to take any calls from the listeners out there?
Absolutely happy to.
Okay, if anybody wants to speak to Carey, I have any comments or questions, you're more than welcome to. If you're live in the chat room, just press in the lower right hand of your screen, either the mic icon or the phone icon. Press that, alert me you want to come on air and speak to him, okay? And you're more than welcome. Just try to refrain from any noises in the background, TVs, radios, conversations, and you're welcome more to come on board. But anybody wants to speak, Aloha or Lisa,
Hello.
go ahead. Hey, how are you?
It's
You're live.
Aloha.
Hey, Aloha, how are you?
I'm good.
Thank you for all your continuing support there.
You're welcome.
Yes.
Hi, Carey.
Nice to talk to you.
Yeah.
Nice to talk to you. And glad you received my email.
I did.
Yeah. Thank you so much for fighting for to end greyhound racing. Me and my other animal rights activist friend.
Yeah.
I think her name is Alexa. I'm not sure, but it starts with letter A. And we were wondering how to coordinate a group outside of Wheeling casinos to protest.
Yeah, it's a good question. My mother was the head of a local animal rights group in Portland, Oregon, decades ago, and so I've certainly been to my share of protests. But I haven't done one in so long. I'm probably not the right person to ask advice for on that. when I was doing protests, we were still using fax machines. So
I was born when the fax machines was fresh.
But no, I mean, I will say this. I mean, I think one of the challenges. So we did polling some years ago in West Virginia, and West Virginia voters overwhelmingly want greyhound racing to end. The voters are with us, even in the Northern Panhandle and the Wheeling area, Ohio County, Brooke County, but the local politicians in that area they really kowtow to the greyhound breeders, and the reason that greyhound racing is continuing in West Virginia is there's a state law that goes back decades that says in order for the casino to exist, the casino by law must race greyhounds, and it must take almost $20 million a year in profits from casino gambling and use that money to subsidize greyhound racing. And so ironically, the casino itself actually doesn't want to do greyhound racing. It wants to move on. But you have these greyhound breeders who have been they've been racing greyhounds their entire lives. Their parents did it, their grandparents did it, and they're getting these huge subsidies every single year, millions and millions, and they take that money and they make big campaign contributions. And so the local politicians in that area really do kowtow to the greyhound breeders and put their interests ahead of everyone else in the state and in that community. I mean, that subsidy money should, instead of giving it to greyhound racing, It should be used for fixing the roads or healthcare or education or any number of things that actually matter to the state of West Virginia and make a difference, not, to this really small handful of greyhound breeders. And so I do think the more local voices we have, whether it's doing a protest or even writing letters to the editor or anything that can be done by people in that local community to make it clear that they oppose greyhound racing and that these local politicians are out of step, that would be a useful thing to do.
I hear you. No, it's just that I agree with you that the street lights need to be fixed out here, as well as other things such as the sewage. And I won't go there, but the 15th Street, um, do wear a mask for those who visit, who walk by there. Wear a mask. Just thought I'd forewarn you because the smell is awful. It's awful. So yes, but hopefully I'll be able to coordinate a group to protest against the greyhound race because but I'm the only person out here
Yeah.
as a vegan, and it's very difficult since I left the big city for wheeling. I'm like a lone wolf out here,
Yeah, I understand. Well, I'll tell you, uh, to me, that makes your voice even more important.
for sure.
Truly. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I'm very grateful to have you there.
Well, thank
Oh
you
yeah,
so much,
don't
Carey.
give up.
I
To
won't.
keep it up.
Two and a
'Cause
half years out here, and I'm just wondering where the other vegans and rights activists are. Come out of the woodwork, please,
yep.
because I can't
Hey,
go to the what do you call it, city hall by myself. I have to go. I feel comfortable with the group. I would feel
right.
comfortable with the group.
There's some groups on. It's called Paws Across America. They have different, for each state. I've
Hmm.
had them on there many times years ago, but you can, find out in there, for West Virginia, Paws Across America, because they have one for every state. So check that out. Put stuff on your social media and track them in. That's how it gets started, even in groups and pages on any social media. And
And
then,
I'm already on a group out here in West Virginia, the vegan vegetarian group, and there's hardly it's really active.
Yeah.
That's how snail pace is out here compared to the big city, Las Vegas, where I used to live at.
There's another group you might want to check out, and
Okay.
they may not be, they may not be as well, they mostly focus on like spay, neuter, and shelter issues, but they
Mhm.
are great. It's called the Federation of Humane Organizations of West Virginia, FOHO West Virginia. They have a Facebook page, and they're very outspoken against greyhound racing and have been an important ally of ours. So that might be, again, they may not work on every issue that you and I care about, but
Right.
that's another potential resource for you to look at as well.
So FOHA of West Virginia.
If you FOHO West Virginia. If you
Oh, okay.
just look for that, you'll find
All
them.
right.
I'll put a link in the chat too.
Oh, much appreciated. Appreciate it.
yeah, that'd be great.
Thank
Any
you so
kind of
much,
information, and
Carrie.
all you listeners out there, all these shows are archived, so you can always go back and listen, get any information you missed out on, or how you can help out, because that matters so much. You know, Getting
Agreed.
together and teaming up. Teamwork is the key. And I
Well, these
know,
shows
cause
give me homework to do, Debbie. That's why I
yep,
was Thursday.
you got some homework. Yep,
A
there
lot of
he
races.
put it. Yeah, Carrie, thanks for putting that in there.
Thank you, Carrie.
You're welcome.
Yes, awesome. Yep, can't give up. Got to get, hang in there, be stronger, be relentless, and keep going. Stand up for what you believe in, even if it means standing alone, because sooner or later somebody's going to listen. You never think that you're spinning your wheels or anything, because you're not. Got to keep it up. So I appreciate all your support, Aloha, and everything. And
Thank you, Debbie.
yeah, and thank you. And
Thank you,
really looking
Carey.
forward to this new podcast that's coming up on Riverside. So we got some,
I'm all
great things.
ears.
Yeah, and we've got a lot going on there and a great lineup coming up. So, I was kicked down at first, but now I got back up. So it's everything looking good. So, and it took me to do it, to make that change. That's what it takes.
You
You
got
know,
this, Debbie.
Yep, it's already set up. So this is a celebration in itself. I'll be doing the once I get over there. I'll be doing the happy dance. Another victory comes through. It's going on 12 years at the end of June, being on air. And that's
And
something.
I'll celebrate with you.
527 live stream podcasts tonight and counting. We'll keep going. So I didn't want to give it up, and I want to keep this live studio chat room, with the call-ins, because I've been doing that for almost 12 years. I've never, went live, just a group recording with the host and the guests, and then pre-recorded and published. I like this interaction here. You get to know each other better. You team up. You know how they feel. Their
Mhm.
voices come through. It's wonderful. I love it. I can't believe Podbean's getting rid of it. It just doesn't make sense, because they're going to lose a lot of business, because they got a great platform going, with this chat room and live stream call ins. Why would they do that? It just doesn't make sense.
So that
Give
your
you,
new chat next month, the new, your new station that is you're going to be going to, or do they have a chat room
oh
like
yeah,
this?
it has a,
Oh,
yes, a
cool.
live studio chat room with the call ins, just like Podbean. So it's wonderful. I've already checked it out and I got it set up. The host website set up. Well, so just almost just like it. So it wasn't that hard to learn. Like last year when I went through this, I had to do a lot of online, self-learning classes because I was on Blog Talk Radio for 10.5 years. And that was a walk in the park compared to these, all this modern technology, so
Mhm.
because it was the web and the app. So but that getting our word out, getting it, I love this podcast because it gets our voices out there. I can't change anything, I'm the host, producer, scheduler, whatever, but I can't change nothing. But thousands more like me can when we come together as one and take that action, and that's the
True.
key. That is the key. Getting on social media, working together. With this bill, HR 5017, the Greyhound Protection Act. I'm going to be. I did this several times before, Carrie, and I'm going to do it again, where I share it. And ask for everybody. I put a call to action, urgent, and ask them to call their state reps and senators on a post and keep resharing it, because not everyone's on social media at the same time of days, and get it out there, and you'll be amazed how many put it in the news feed, because that's when it can go viral. Just pressing like is not, it serves no justice. Or press that share into the new on all social media and gain attention, and people will take action. You can't just say they're not going to take action, because we don't know what they're going to do. They might not, but it's worth putting it out there. So I remember doing even special reels for it, all the bills that was in federal legislation, and the bill numbers and links to them, and you know, sometimes I really deck them out because I enjoy it. It's what I like to do with this, the advocacy, and to get it out there and help make changes in the comfort of your own home and phone and computer, and you know everything's right there. So how could it be difficult, right? How could it be
Agreed.
difficult? It's not that hard. Or pressing that share. It's not going to break your fingers or sprain them. Okay, you
Mhm.
just keep going. And keyboard warriors out there,
Agreed. And,
strict in numbers, Mama Cat.
and
That's
Mama
right.
Cat.
Yep.
There's a lady out here who's feeding stray cats, and she does
Yeah.
TNR like you.
Yeah. Hey, Mama Cat's a former guest on here with all her 90 cats in colony. Take care of them out there in Colorado. All lives matter out there, including all the animals. It keeps them warm in the winter time. And her and her husband and her grandkids, teaching their grandkids, hey, grow up and, with treating animals with dignity and respect. And they're going to move through their adulthood doing the same thing. So it's wonderful out there what everybody's doing and all the efforts they're putting into it because hey, all lives matter, including all the animals, because we're all in this uh, crazy place called Earth, only temporary. All of us.
Oh yes.
That don't discriminate. Okay, we
Oh
got
yeah.
to make the best of it because
Agreed.
one day, getting older here, we'll have to bring them younger ones in to do the advocacy, train them because they'll never go down to zero, but at least it is going to go ongoing, with advocacy and keep it up and keep the positive going, getting out of the negative, so every effort counts, so yeah, and Darla, I want to thank you for tuning
Thank
in
you.
and thank you for your compliments and all you're doing out there. But thank you, Aloha. Does
Thank
anybody want to
you, Debbie
speak?
and Carrie. All
Hey,
other
big hugs. And give
people.
Harry a big hug from me,
I
okay?
will. I will.
Yeah. Yep. Thank you, Darla. But does anybody want to speak on air and ask
I
any
do.
comment? Hey, go right ahead. Is that Lisa?
Yes, sir, it is. I mean, yes, ma'am,
Yeah,
it
well,
is.
I was going to say, Lisa, come on. Now, you know who a man
I'm so
named
used
Debbie.
I'm so used to talking to my boss, and he was the chief of police, so I'm yes sir, no sir all day. Sorry.
That's all right. Don't worry about it.
I, I I wanted to say something to Carrie. I remember my parents bringing me to Greyhound racing here in Massachusetts when I was a kid, and I didn't like it. I love animals. I always have. Well, I know that GREY2K had put a lot of pressure. In 2004, tried to get it on the bill. The voters didn't take heed to it. But I know in 2008, with all your efforts, we passed it in Massachusetts to end Greyhound racing. And then in 2018, I believe it was we can't even gamble on Greyhound racing. So I just wanted to thank GREY2K for that. I've been following your organization for many, many years now. So I'm excited to even talk to you.
Oh, well, it's
Isn't that
very, very,
wonderful? You
very,
never know.
very, very kind of you to say that. I'm curious. Did your parents take you to Wonderland or Raynham?
Rainham.
Yeah. You know, George Carney. So I was doing a debate with George Carney um, when we were on the ballot the first time. So the history here, just in a few seconds. So this was on the ballot originally. It was actually year 2000, and we lost 51-49. It was one of the
Oh,
darkest moments in my life. We're sued by Charlie Sarkis, the other track owner, for $10 million for defamation of character. Um, but out of that loss, we said, well, we had stood toe to toe with this powerful industry and almost won. So, let's try to form a national nonprofit and keep fighting for the dogs. And so, ironically, that if we had won, I think it's possible we all would have gone our separate directions. And it was the loss that actually kept us together and kept us fighting. But I did a radio debate early in 2000 with George Carney, and it was a spokesperson for a campaign, but I was in the studio. And as the debate during the break, he said, "Oh, my parents used to take me to cockfights when I was a boy in Ireland, and those birds love to fight. There was nothing wrong with cockfighting." And
oh
the
my
and
gosh.
the host was absolutely horrified. But years later, after we won the ballot question, a reporter asked Christine and I to go do an interview at Raynham at the track, and George agreed. And so I went down and talked to him, and I was able to, walk the track the track where so many dogs had died and see it overgrown, and see that this track would never be used again. And so, I think to go from, you know, the year 2000, being in studio for that debate when George was so callous and so anti-animal, to years later winning and then walking his track, and knowing that no dog would ever die there again. That was really amazing. So yeah, Raynham Park was a big track and very powerful. And
Yeah.
I, I'm sorry that you had that experience, but it's I think Massachusetts voters in particular should be really proud of the role that we played in this, because this movement that's now spread across the world, it really did start in Massachusetts.
Oh, wow.
Like so many good things start in Massachusetts, right?
Right?
Wow. Yes. Wow. This is,
Wow.
yep.
Yeah. We, I mean, we're pretty, I mean, I run into a lot of people who are animal advocates because that's my world. I have feral colonies and I was a veterinary technician. And so I just surround myself with animals because they're better than most people.
Don't you wish? Don't you wish all?
Ain't that the
Don't you think?
truth?
Don't you wish all humans were like animals? This would be a better
Yeah.
world to live in.
I always say that human beings are the worst animals on this planet.
They're the roots of all the problems. It's not the
Right?
animals; it's the humans,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. We
That
could
is a
solve a lot of
fact.
issues. Yep.
Yep.
So,
Oh yeah.
but thank you very much, Carrie.
Oh, thank you, Lisa. Thanks for all your support.
Yeah,
You're
that's
welcome.
wonderful. Another great show, everyone. I love this, and wow, there's so much energy and positivity and everything going on, bringing the negative into the positive. It can be done. We just got to work on it and work together. Working together, we become stronger together from all angles, and strength in numbers, Mama Cat. And
That's
that's
right.
so true. There she is. I knew you was around roaming down there somewhere. Meow. I could
Now,
be I could be a lion too. Wow. Or the mama bear user mama bear voice. But how are you, Mama Cat?
I'm doing well. I wanted to
Oh,
share, we had a really large dog track here in Colorado Springs. As long as I lived here, we had one, and it made a lot of money for the city. And so when it was being fought to have it shut down, that was the big holdback for the city, why they didn't pursue it, or go after that, because they would be losing such a huge tax base. And so a lot of people got together and we advocated to turn it into a youth park where they do RC cars, and then they already have the track. So we suggested mini bikes, dirt bikes for the track, and then an RC park for the kids for their RC cars on the outer sides of the like the parking where they had the huge parking area. And it brings in not as many tax dollars as the dog track, but enough to sustain the property, and it's still there.
You know, it's such a good point. And we've seen that happen. I'm familiar with the track you're talking about, and I'm aware of that history. I didn't live it like you did, but I'm aware of it. And we've seen dog tracks all over the country and all over the world become, much better things. A dog track in Connecticut became an animal shelter. A lot of the British dog tracks have become housing, which is like critically important there, and there's just an incredible housing shortage. In Florida, there was a dog track in Jacksonville, Florida, that became an acclaimed private school. And to me, greyhound racing is like this Depression era relic of an industry that happens to still exist today. I was actually doing a radio show in West Virginia a couple days ago. I mean, it was the day before yesterday, and during the radio show, I said, this community in Wheeling, it's almost like the movie Weekend at Bernie's. Like they've tied themselves to a dead body. Like rather than look forward and find an industry that will help the local community, that will provide jobs, that will provide economic opportunity, they're like tying themselves to this industry that's like, hello, 1940 wants his dog track back. I mean, I don't. I think that's bizarre, but yeah, thank you for talking about Colorado. The fight to end greyhound racing in Colorado was very important, and definitely a huge part of the movement to help these dogs.
And the part a lot of people don't think about, I was a volunteer at our local shelter at the time when that was open, and the animals that would come into the shelter after every single race, these dogs were broken, they were beaten, they were drugged, they were just shells of themselves. And they would take them dogs and just dump them in the parking lot. They don't care about those animals if they're not making money for them. And up until the day that they're not making money for them, they're done with them. They have no use for a losing animal, and they're not going to, drive that animal back to their hometowns or whatever. They dump them, they kill them, they beat them, they do whatever. They don't care. And so once people realize what actually happens to those dogs, they're not treated, they're not brushed out and loved, and no, none of that happens. They're race dogs, and that's all they are. And if they don't race, they don't live, period.
That's terrible. Isn't that disgusting? Whoa.
I'll give, this will shock all of you, but I'll give the industry a little bit of credit on one point, which is I do think that the one thing the industry got better at over time was the greyhound adoption movement. And by the way, it then like manipulated and politicized, and I mean it made that very dysfunctional in a bunch of ways. But as we're nearing the end of greyhound racing in the United States, I do think today that most of the dogs are adopted. That is true. But you're 100% right. If you look at the history of this industry in the United States over the century it existed, the overwhelming majority of the dogs were just discarded and killed. Yeah. I mean, prior to the 1990s, there was basically no greyhound adoption. I mean, if you go into the early 80s or earlier, all of the dogs were killed, and it was just like you said, they would just be dumped at local shelters. They would be just shot and put in a pit somewhere.
Right.
I mean,
right at the track.
Right at the track, no question. When Wonderland, we were talking about Massachusetts earlier, I have been told that when they excavated Wonderland and built something new there, that they found greyhound remains on the property. So
I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, this is an industry that over the course of its existence was responsible for the suffering and deaths of hundreds of thousands of dogs. No question about it.
See, that's just what's going on is inhumane treatment. I mean, it is so sickening, disgusting.
I was so happy.
A disgrace to the human race.
I was so happy when they shut ours down. We had two. We had the one here in the Springs and then one down in Pueblo. And they're both shut down, so we don't have any left.
All right. Another victory.
That's been years, though. Ours have been shut down for years.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
They're not needed. Why do we need them? We don't. Let these innocent greyhounds live in peace and comfort, away from anxiety and fear.
Carey was talking about cockfighting earlier, how, people say they like to fight. Well, I remember when I was very young, my dad and his friend had a big, huge, I don't know what the hell kind of rooster it was. Now, I was little, so I may be, my memory may be exaggerated, But I remember that rooster being almost as tall as me, and I was like 6 years old. So it was, and he was mean, mean. My point is, when children are raised to think that that's normal, then they think treating animals like that is normal. And as long as there's a culture that still believes that's normal and it's an okay thing for us to do, there's going to be kids growing up thinking that's okay to do, And so we need to nip it, get this crap done and over with, and teach our kids that this is not normal. It's not okay. It's not fun. It's not a sport. They used to call it a sport. That's no sport, in my opinion. So we need to end all of this, not just dog fighting and rooster fighting. And if there's an animal that'll fight with another one, they'll do it. And it's just ridiculous.
Well,
That's
and I
right.
I don't mean to keep banging the drum on this, but I'll just say, you know, the political work is not only about like changing the law, it's also about setting those community standards because, you know, you're right that at the end of the day, you know, we need to have, a broad acceptance in our society that cockfighting is not allowed, a broad consensus in our society that greyhound racing is cruel and inhumane and is not allowed. And one of the main ways we do that as a society is to pass laws that say that. That doesn't mean that we don't also have to go enforce those laws and that the work ends. It doesn't, because there's always going to be bad actors when it comes to animals in one shape or another. But it really is a huge part of the work, and it's the part that we focused on. So
Right. And
yeah.
I think teaching kids why it's not allowed. I mean, there's so many laws out there, and there's a lot of people that say, oh, they're just infringing on my right to do. Until these kids understand why it's not allowed and the suffering that these animals go through, I don't think it's going to hit a nerve with them. Once they see it, and a lot of people don't realize, like the greyhounds, a lot of people don't know that they beat those dogs, shoot them dogs. When they're done winning, they're nothing to them. They don't know that. They think, they're all being adopted out, which I guess nowadays they do have certain adoption things, but back in the day they didn't. They just dumped them. And until people realize what these animals go through, I think we're just beating the drum.
Well, when I say that this is like almost like a depression era relic of an industry, I mean what I specifically mean by that is the world has changed. I mean, even our lifetimes, not to say things are perfect, not to say we don't have a lot more to do, but we've all seen on the animal question, really big changes. I mean, we could go through them,
Oh, yeah.
and as the world has changed, with the exception of adoption, with that one exception, the greyhound industry today operates like it operated in 1950. Think about that. Or
Yeah.
1930. I mean, it's, the world has changed around it, and they still think that they're living in 1950 when it comes to the way they treat these dogs. And I mean, that's ultimately why greyhound racing is going to end. It's because this industry completely refused to make even the smallest changes. And I'm a very practical person. Like, I know a lot of the people in the industry. I talked to them directly. I said to them, "Hey, you guys should make some changes just to show the world you're capable of that." And their attitude was, "No, this is the way we've always done things, and we're going to keep doing it." And then they're surprised when the voters outlaw them. It's like
Right.
they're shocked. There's a deep disconnect there, but you're right. I mean, I agree completely that we need to just keep educating and keep talking to young people and to everyone in the community about these issues, and keep building a consensus, that animals deserve consideration and deserve to be protected. That's what it comes down to for me.
Do you feel that horse racing and dog racing kind of go hand in hand?
Well, so as an organization, we only work on greyhound racing. That's it. And I do think there are differences between the two, but I think there's a lot of problems in horse racing as well. And I would say about horse racing, whether it's horse racing or all of these, I think that all of these animal industries, including horse racing, should look at what happened with greyhound racing.
Yeah.
And I think
Yep.
they should say to themselves, are we going to try and change to meet the world as it's changing, or are we going to end up like greyhound racing? And what beyond that, it's not, I mean, it's above my pay grade. It's not, but I certainly have personal feelings about that issue and other animal issues. But I do think that what's happened with greyhound racing should be a warning sign to all of these animal use industries for sure.
Yes,
Yeah.
it should. All they got to do is open their eyes and their ears and see what's really going on behind the scenes, and they're not going to like it behind closed doors, and protect all these animals instead of keeping them in harm's way. They don't have a choice. They don't have a voice, and they're forced, and that's not right. How would you like to be forced in a profession out there that you didn't like? You wouldn't like it at all. So, and feel for the animals too, because their lives matter. Get them into comfort and peace and care and love. Enjoy their lives, not be just while you are, trained to race. And for humans, greed. Okay, greed is a major uh, problem in this world. Follow the money, and a lot of times they don't even look at how the animal feels or anything. Animals are not property. They're living animal beings. I hate when the property. No, they're not property. Our properties, our homes and our cars, all that stuff. So we have to look at it a different way and keep fighting. That's and not give up, even with the horse racing. I know I never had a show on that yet, but that's a good one to head for.
Yeah.
So because
All
there's
these
so,
roads, you lead them back to the money. It's all about the money.
oh yeah, right there. You think they would go see him if there wasn't no money involved racing?
No.
I
If you took the
no,
money out
no
of it,
way.
they'd be gone.
There would be history.
Yeah.
You know. Oh yeah. It's the same as dog fighting. There's another one. You
Yeah.
know, I've had several on that, and it's sickening how they, because the pit bulls always get the bad rap, and they shouldn't. You gotta blame the deed, not the breed.
Yeah.
They're forced to fight. They're trained to fight. They don't. They can't get to these fights. They don't drive themselves there or walk themselves there. They got that owner there that's training them, and people cheering them on. And they're. I mean, the shows that I've had on that is so disgusting what's going on with that too.
Yeah.
So hope they turn over a new leaf and help the animals out and get them out of harm's way. It's not needed. It's terrible. It's
It's
not a.
just all these shows that you've done. I they run through the back of my mind, and what's the commonality of all of it? And if you really get down to it, it's always about the freaking money.
Always, isn't it? The
You know.
roots of everything.
Yeah.
You, every single one of them.
The dogs, the
You.
cats,
Yep.
the whales, the dolphins. I mean, all of it. The zoos, all of it.
Oh yeah.
The
Agree.
elephants. I mean, nosy, all of them. It's
Oh
just
yeah.
seems like every time you turn the page, there's another group that needs help, and a new suffering that I never thought of. It's like it just never seems to end.
It is overwhelming out there, Mama
It
Cat.
is.
I mean, you're talking overwhelming. I mean, look at all the shows I've done. And you said it right there. Go to the roots of the problem, work your way up, and guess what? Common sense wins every time. Money, greed. It's all about them. I call
I
them
I think
greed.
that, I, I
Yeah.
think the thing just to add to the point you're making, I
Mm.
think the thing that's so um, shocking about greyhound racing is it's the issue you're talking about, but it's first of all it's dogs. I mean, people can look at their dog on the couch and empathize with these animals are suffering, but also it's so little money. It's pathetic. I'll give you an example. We had a board member named Mike Trombley who lived in the state of New Hampshire and helped us in greyhound racing in New Hampshire, and he first learned of the issue because he actually worked for the New Hampshire Racing Commission, the state regulator that regulates greyhound racing for a time, and he was an accountant, and he was asked to fill in as a racing official at one of the dog tracks. He knew basically nothing about greyhound racing, and so he went out. It was a little track called the Lodge at Belmont in the Lakes region in New Hampshire, and he was there for a race and or for a night of racing for what's called a racing card. And uh, one of the dogs pulled up lame, and the dog was taken off to a shed.
And shot.
And the trainer, who was incredibly young, um, looked at the track vet, and the track vet said, what do you want me to do?" And the trainer said, "Give it the needle." And so Mike held it while the dog was euthanized because of a broken leg. And that really disturbed Mike. And he was an accountant, so when he got back to the office, he went and looked up that race, and the dog that had died, the dog's name was Fiery Elegance. The race that dog died in, the state of New Hampshire was going to get $1 in revenue. That dog literally died for $1 of state revenue, and
What?
that to me is so. I mean, it changed him. It was like Mike was so. It was like this wound that sat with him for years until this movement to end greyhound racing in New Hampshire, which came out of Massachusetts, um, gave him an opportunity to do something about it. But it's an industry that harms dogs for pennies. I mean, it's just a pathetic industry. So anyway, I appreciate everything you said, and I agree completely.
Mm. $1. Oh, whoa.
Yeah, they don't
That's
make the money off the dogs even. They make it off the beer and everything else they sell in the stand.
mm. Oh,
That's crazy.
isn't that insane or what? For that,
Ridiculous.
yes,
And
it
the
is.
suffering the animals go through.
That's right.
Well, that dog
Mm.
was lucky he got a needle. A lot of the dogs out here, they just shoot them right there, right next
Mm.
to the track.
Disgusting. They don't have a chance. They didn't have a chance, and that's what the sickening part about it is.
That's why we got to fight so hard, for all of them.
Right? There's enough of them, isn't there? I mean, it's like, overwhelming out there. Or if
At
you
least there's
really
only
zoom
two
in it,
tracks. At least there's only two tracks left that have to be shut down, which is
yep,
great. I know
it
that
is.
there's still other states that it's not illegal for dog track, but they don't actually race there. So,
Yeah, the federal bill will make it illegal in all 50 states, which is why we're fighting so hard for it.
right.
And it'll also make gambling on greyhound racing illegal. And I want to make sure after we win in the United States, I want to make sure that America doesn't prop up the cruelty of greyhound racing in Australia, in the
Right.
UK, in Ireland, and so that's why the federal bill is so important to us. But yeah, it's like I said, we're close to getting the job done on that. But it's still a tough fight. You know, it's again, it's a generational industry, and people that have convinced themselves that what they're doing is just and right, and you know they have these local politicians in the Wheeling area defending them, and they have money to burn, you know, to fight us, and so it's still a tough fight. But I really honored for the opportunity to be with all of you tonight, and really honored to be on the show. So you know, thank you for having me.
Oh, anytime, and looking forward to you coming back. A very outstanding, informative show there, Carey. It's such an honor to have you on. And like I
Yeah, it's
said,
been nice
thank
talking with you.
yes. I mean, it's just so you're so inspiring and uplifting to what you're doing, and you're not stopping there. You're going to keep going. We want the two more that's in the United States shut down. Let's get it done, everyone. Get that Greyhound Protection Act passed. HR 5017. And please call your state representatives and senators and ask them co-sponsored, please. On the Senate side, it needs a sponsor, then go for co-sponsors. Okay? And we appreciate you too, Carey. And once this show's downloaded, edited, and published, I'll send you the new link and everything. And thanks for sharing and all what you're doing. And oh, this is wonderful. And we'll keep going. We support you. We're standing with you. We're not sitting down, okay? And we're going to and I got this super team going on. And all of you are such a true inspiration in my life and this podcast. And the new one's coming up. We're going to keep going. We're not going to stop. Right, Mama Cat? And
That's right.
Barb's and Aloha and Michelle and Darla and Lisa. All of you. We're going to keep going. We are not going to give up. We give up, we'll automatically lose. So but another great show. Wow. I love it. And Carey, keep it up. You are a true leader out there. True leader. Hey, that's what it takes. You're a true warrior. So and I'm gonna, keep supporting it, and I will get a post together from X and Facebook and LinkedIn. Get a post going and keep resharing on HR 5017, and we're gonna get it out there, okay? And
Well,
make it go viral.
appreciate that so much. Thank you. It's
Yep.
incredibly kind words, and I'll yeah, we'll keep plugging away, and try to be worthy of that very kind praise. So thank you.
Hey, you're so truly welcome. Hey, I do my best. I can't do it alone, so it takes teamwork all the way, strong teamwork, and then we'll see positive results. Because change don't, uh, happen overnight. Being silent is no solution for change. So let your voices be heard, everyone, and your actions be recognized because it's so very important. We are the animals' voices, and we must be heard. Let's get rid of this suffering that they're going through on these two last ones. Let's see it happen, and we see victories coming in, and that's proof of from the beginning to the end. It's teamwork all the way, working together, not apart. That's when we're stronger together.
Yep.
Strength in numbers, right, Mama Cat?
That's right.
Carrie, she was a former guest many times. We go way back to 2018 Blog Talk Radio
Yep.
and everything. And she's a great. I call her my tag team because we multitask, right, Mama Cat?
We sure do.
And the rest of them, I appreciate all of you out there because hey, great team players, super team players, and that's what it takes. Don't be silent. Do something. Take your anger into action. That's the key, you know. And when you contact these representatives, be professional and polite. That right there. Don't call up irate and obnoxious or anything like that. You'll get farther.
Yeah.
Just get the point across, in a nice way, a kind way, and you'll get farther. And explain why you would like to see this HR 5017 pass, Greyhound Protection Act. And they'll love to hear from you that we vote them in, okay? And whether you're Democrat, Republican, or whatever, hey, get your voice out there. Don't discriminate against the political party that's out there. We all got to work together because Congress is made up of both Democrats and Republicans.
And
So
animals don't care what color we are.
that's right. They don't discriminate at all. They're unconditional love all the way. So make them calls. We got to work together. And that's what it takes. Your representatives and senators, 202-224-3121. Give your zip codes a nationwide number. During business hours, ask to speak to your state representative or senator. And then ask them to please co-sponsor HR 5017 and why. And let's see some of them co-sponsors numbers go up. It's at 30 co-sponsors right now. We could get it way up there. That Safe Act has got 228 co-sponsors. That's a lot of work, but it's worth it.
They've been working
right?
on that. They've been working on that bill a long time, and that's. Personally, I care deeply about that bill as well, and I know Christine, my co-founder, does. Yeah. In any event, thank you again for having me on, and just really appreciate.
Oh, hey, you got it. You got all of our support. We're standing with you. We're not looking away. We're not ignoring it. We're standing right with you, Carey, and looking forward to having you back again and again. Okay, because we're going to keep going. All these great, amazing guests and organizations, big and small, and advocates come on. It's wonderful. It keeps inspiring me to keep going. And that's why I went and fought hard and get this other podcast because I was not shutting down Voices Carey for Animals podcast under no circumstances. So 12 years coming up and we'll keep going.
We ain't going nowhere.
But anyway, that's right. And Mama Cat, you know it. We're going to keep going. And everyone, I want to go over a couple things before I do close it down. Next week, next week's gonna be the last show, Mama Cat, and everyone on Podbean podcast app. So, I know I'll miss it because it's been a year and a couple months. But our guest is going to be Marianne Holm and also Mina Jackson. We're going to welcome Marianne's been on many times for Lucy the Elephant out there in Canada, Edmonton Valley Zoo. For many decades, she's in bad health, and you know what it goes down to? Greed again. It's money, and it's sickening, and she's suffering. Been whatever, like 4 decades already.
Yeah.
And that's the sad part.
Winter, an elephant.
Oh. And Lucy don't have a choice, captivity. They need to be out of the zoos, all the wildlife. Let them enjoy their life, And it's Lucy's Edmonton Advocates Project, LEAP. I want to welcome Marianne back, and Mina will be her first time. She's going to be a guest. I'm going to have some surprised callers call in. They have no clue about it. I'm not going to mention their names because it is a surprise. We're going to be rocking the airways again, okay? And hopefully, I know Marianne was really down a couple weeks ago, and I said, you know what, we're all going to go up and down, but hang in there because it's been over a decade since we're fighting for Lucy to get out of there. Remember when Nosy got out in Canada? Not Canada, but Nosy the elephant got released to a sanctuary in Tennessee. And then you got our own law in New Jersey, Nosy's Law, getting the wild animals out of the circuses and stuff. So it can happen. But next week will be 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central, 5 o'clock Mountain, and 4 o'clock Pacific. Listen in worldwide, everyone. That will be the last show on Podbean Podcast app. And then starting back up on Riverside. And then please follow me over there, subscribe, and you go to Voices Carey for Animals Podcast riverside.com, and you can subscribe free. On this one, Mama Cat, you don't have to start up an account. So once it starts up, I just send you, get it started up on the web, and you can call in right from your phone, your laptop, your iPad, right from there. So
Do
it's
they
going to be
do they have a
awesome.
specific animal category for you this time?
Uh, you're not going. It's going to be pets and animals, and under news. Yep. So we gotta. So I'll be under pets and animals or news. I'll do both. But wait till you see the live studio chat room. I'm naming it Mama Bear Studio. I can put it in there. You will laugh when you see it. You'll love it. It's nice like Podbean, but you could name it
Cool.
Mama Bear Studio. And so I will be taking off from after May, or I'm sorry, June the 4th when it starts up. So my show next week on the 14th, I'll be taking 3 weeks off. I'll still be advocating online.
3
So
weeks off.
yes,
Wow.
I know. So you guys, I'll be still advocating online, but just getting this podcast totally together.
I'm gonna go through withdrawals and shit.
Withdrawals. That'll be a good one.
I'll keep
But
you
once we get,
posted how I survive.
you got to do some scheduling and all that, and because I'm changing to Animal Warrior Radio, because I've already got the shows already transferred over there. On my on-demand episodes, and they'll also be on Podserve.fm. Got them over there also. They've been over there. That Tyler from there has been very helpful, helping me out.
Oh, good.
So I'm checking out because after this, goes out to 28 different websites, podcast, website platforms, and 2 YouTube channels. So there's a lot of stuff I got to change around from Animal Advocates Radio to Animal Warrior Radio. I'll have it together. New logos. I got, different friends that's doing my logos, which helps out.
Yeah.
So, it takes teamwork again.
Are
But
you
I'm
out
really
on the
looking forward to it.
patio?
No, I'm not on the patio. I was on the patio. I'm on the computer now. hey, Carey, I like to tease her when it's snowing out in Colorado, and I tell her I'm on the patio. She better get the next flight to Florida.
I got 5 inches of snow yesterday. I woke up to.
Oh.
Yeah.
5 inches of snow. It's May the 7th.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Now it's gonna be 70 all week.
Hey, I don't mean to rub it in or anything, but I had some laughs out of it, okay? Yeah. Tell them I'm going live from the patio, live stream.
I'm over here freezing my butt off. It's 30 degrees yesterday. 31 was
30.
our high.
Oh my goodness. Wow. But anyway, everybody, I want to thank you all for tuning in, and hope you keep going. We're doing this next week for the last show on Podbean Podcast app live stream. They're doing away with the live stream with the live studio chat room with the call-ins. I wish they wouldn't. I don't see why. I don't understand it. we're going to lose a lot of customers.
Exactly.
There was a petition I just found the other day, Mama Cat, to keep them, but I found it too late. It only had like 100, to keep it,
Yeah.
have them keep it, but it was like that. So I said, oh no. I said, I just seen it, and the last show's next week. So I started passing it everywhere, and
I signed it, but
I know, but it's
you'll be
too late.
gone by then, anyways. But
Yep,
no,
this
I
other
think
one.
they should keep it.
I know. It just when I got that email saying that, it just knocked me down. I was like, no, I just got over here,
Yeah, we just got comfortable.
I mean, I got so comfortable. I was bragging about on the podcast, and giving great feedback. Wow. Yep. But anyway, I wanted to bring something else up. I've been starting a regular blood donor on oneblood.org, and they're in dire need of blood, everyone. Just go to that website and donate. They do give gift cards out, and it helps. It's healthy too. It replenishes their blood out there, like an oil change, okay?
Yep.
And they're in dire need, and even for the chemotherapy, blood transfusion, people that's getting in accidents, losing a lot of blood, surgeries, you name it, and it helps out. It helps save lives. Okay, so I told them I'm going Monday to give more blood and everything. And the last time I was there, I was the only one in the afternoon giving blood, and I said, "This is not good, at all." And you never know when you're going to need it. So I said, well, I got to put this on the podcast. And I talked to on the phone the other day, one representative from oneblood.org about my appointment, and I told her what I was going to do, and that just lit her up. She said, "Wow!" And I told her about the podcast, so I got her to follow me. I said, "But I'm only have 2 more shows," and so it lifted her up. She said, "That's great." I said, "I've done it on several shows," and I said, "Wherever I can help out, I know I'm doing 360." But hey, we can all do better. Help save lives out there. You never know when you're going to need it. Okay, so we can't predict our future. And so please, oneblood.org, and they have a big, one big red bus that cruises around. I'm not sure in all of them in the United States, but here in Florida they do, and they have blood donor centers. You can donate platelets and whole blood, and just go to the website. You can set appointments. You're going to have to, ask. They're going to ask you questions on like an iPad, and it's awesome. I mean, yeah. So we got to help out any which way we can, out there. People helping people, that means a lot. Yeah. So, and Barb's out there. Hello, Barb's, and thank you for tuning in. She calls me Debs, but check it out, everyone, and spread the word out there. It's great all the way around. You get gift cards, plus it's healthy, plus you're helping save lives. This is all positive, okay? And I'm going to keep donating blood because I want to be a positive impact in this world, not a negative one, because I never know one day I might need it. You never know. We can't predict that stuff. But right, and today was the National Day of Prayer across the United States. So keep them prayers coming, okay? Because this world we're living in right now is not a pretty picture. So please keep the prayers coming, okay? God we will always trust.
Absolutely.
And don't forget Saturday the USPS food drive. Okay, leave some perishable items around out by your mailbox or inside your mailbox. If you're in condos in your mail rooms, it can help the ones in the need, because this inflation's very high and it needs to come down. Something's got to give. So please help those ones in need and put a smile on their face that we really do care. I got to get mine ready Saturday morning. I usually give like three little bags full to help them out, because it's going to local pantries. Okay, and hey, do your best and help out, because I know we all have food in our pantries and everything that's we're not using. So when I give it somebody that does use it, and help out. And also Mother's Day on Sunday, everyone. Happy Mother's Day to all you hard-working mothers, you loving, caring mothers out there. I hope your day is beautiful. Okay, I'm a mother myself. My mother, Pat Dahmer, aka Moose, is tuning in. Happy Mother's Day on Sunday, Moose or Mom. I hope your day is as wonderful as you are. Well, all thank you for all you have done, and I mean, and doing, because you got a heart of gold. You recognition for all bringing me upright, and my brother and my father had. I mean, I can't ask for any better parents. And my mother was my mother and my best friend, and I love her to death. And please say some prayers for her because she's having some issues out there. I mean, it's not life threatening, but please say some prayers for Pat Dahmer because he's been in a lot of pain and not sleeping. So my prayers are with you, Moose. I love you to death, and I say I got the best mom in the world, the mother, and she deserves the recognition. All she does, and all
She
she's
does.
done, unconditional love out there. You
We love
know,
Pat.
yep. And
Moose.
Moose. We got to think of Moose, and I know she's tuning in. And thank you, Mom, for everything. Because this Mother's Day we get together and all the great memories we have had. I mean, they're all cherished. I lost my father, and when we did that, when that happened, because we got abuse and neglect call coming from all angles. Okay, and my father, he was abused and neglected in a nursing home that led to his death. And he's a former professional wrestler, Chief Whiteout, late 50s to the early 80s. And we went through something else, this family and himself, back in 2008. And May 23rd will be his 18th year anniversary. And I remember how everything happened like it was yesterday. I made my dad, my best friend, rest in peace. Because it's totally uncalled for. Mama Cat, I told you the whole situation.
Yeah.
And
He
it's
invented
terrible.
the tomahawk chop. Chop, chop.
That's right. And I have him a
He did.
tribute page on Facebook.
Yep.
Chief Whiteout, check it out. And wrestling through the years and the late 50s to the early 80s. Big time wrestling to WWF to WWE in the early 80s. And he was one of the pioneers of what it is today. He wore the feathers, the
Yeah,
war
he did.
paint, and I said, I never got into the ring. I'm just outside the ring taking him down. you know, my first name was when I was on Marty Oakley's TS Radio. I was going by the Dominator. Isn't that a good one? Yeah, isn't that a good one or what? And so somehow I moved to Mama Bear. But may my dad rest in peace, and my mother's we stayed close together. Our mothers, we have to give them special recognition that day, everyone, and that's every day. Thank them for all they've done and being there. There's not a lot of mothers out there that are good mothers, okay? They don't deserve the recognition. And I mean, not at all. And the ones that are the great mothers and loving and caring, it's not easy being a mother in this challenging days and times,
It
you
isn't.
know, at all. So you know what they're out there working two jobs and trying to raise children or single mothers, and it's tough out there from every angle. So give them some recognition. Tell them, hey, you love them and care for them. Give them a big hug because there are mama bears, and being a mother myself, I know through this whole time, it's never easy. You gotta so much to, you gotta protect them, you gotta look after them, care for them, love them, show them attention, and I had all that. My brother also. So thank you, Mom, and everything, and our AK Moose. She don't look like a moose, but we called her Moose, since junior high. So it's been many years. Even her sisters called her that when they was, there's a couple that's left and everything. So we're like wow, this has been a long time. The whole family, grandkids, the great grandkids, her kids. Even my father, when he was alive, he called her Moose. Isn't that something? So he would say it real loud through the whole house. But anyway, and all you mothers that's tuning in this evening, happy Mother's Day to you on Sunday, okay? Big mama bear hugs to you. Hope you enjoy your day. And even the mama, even the your fur babies, mama cats and mama dogs, mama bears, all them, they all count. So thank you for all of you for all your support and enjoy your day because hey, Mother's Day should be every day, right, Mama Cat? Every day should be Mama Cat or Mama Cat Mother's Day because we're not all on this. We're on this earth temporarily, so a lot of them don't have their mothers, and may they rest in peace. And think of that day, light a candle, or whatever you can do in their memory, because we're not all going to be around forever. And enjoy them while you can, because you never know. Life is short and time flies. But thank you, everyone. Does anybody else have? Because we've got 5 minutes left. Another great show. And Carey, I can't thank you enough either. And when father, are you a father, Carey?
I'm a cat father. That's about it.
Hey, that counts too. That counts too. That's right, because there are furry loved ones. They are furry loved ones. Furry daughter. That's what I call Sugar Bear. It's my furry daughter, and then Victory, my Liberty. I'm the mama cat to them, and they're my furry son and daughter. They all matter. All of them matter. But another great show, everyone. And thank you all for tuning in. And please tune in next week, next Thursday, making voices heard worldwide. And Mama Cat, watch out, Riverside. Here we come on June the 4th. And she's going to be my first guest. Mama Cat is going to be the first guest. Isn't that great? And looking forward to We're going to rock the airways again. Put your seatbelts on,
That's right.
Yep.
Helmets, attach them.
Yep. So we'll enjoy it. I'm sure we'll get serious, but we'll enjoy it. We got to get our words across and how we feel, and it's so great to have all you when you call in and tell them how you feel. It's wonderful. That's why I love this live chat room. Lisa, thank you so much. Aloha and Mama Cat, Michelle, all of you, Barb's. This has been great, Darla. But anyway, have a wonderful and peaceful evening, everyone. And please, hey, do what you can out there. Take that action. HR 5017, the Greyhound Protection Act. Please support it and call your state representative and senators, okay? And help support Carey, Theil. And we got your back there, Carey. We can't thank you enough. We got your back. But Mama Cat, yeah, thank you, Carey.
Thank you, everyone.
Another
appreciate
great.
Very much, and have a good night.
And
stay
you
in
too.
Touch with us.
Yeah, stay in touch, okay?
Now.
That's right. Your Voices Carey for Animals podcast family, okay?
I'm proud.
We just adopted you in. You're locked in now, okay? You can't get out, right? Look at Mama Cat. She got locked in. Right. But go ahead, Mama Cat. Paw in hand.
Paw in hand, united we stand against all animal abuse and neglect across the land. Good night, everybody. Happy Mother's Day to everybody.
Yes.
See you next week.
All right, I'm gonna be bopping my head, okay? And Mama Bear the happy dance for the victories for the Greyhounds stopping in the 2 left. But thank you, everyone.
See you next week for Lucy.
Thank you so much. With our voices, the animals will be heard. With our actions, the animals will seek justice. Good night, everyone, and may God bless you all. Bye-bye. Bye, Mama Cat. Night, Moose. Big Mama Bear hugs.
Dominator.
The Dominator. Go on air later with the Dominator. Night, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in.